Alright, what is going on, guys? It is Brickgeneral here, back with another video, and today, guys, I have more of a technology related video, and today, guys, I'm going to be comparing the MacBook Pro 13-inch versus the Dell Xps 13. So I have both of them in front of me right now. So some of you guys, if you guys do know me, I currently use the MacBook Pro 13 as my daily driver. I use it to edit videos, I use it for everything else, everything I want to write stuff, blah, 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 and that has been decent for me. Now, I want to say the video editing performance is not great with the 13-inch, but I'm gonna get into that later, and that's mainly my fault for choosing a laptop that's not optimized for video editing, but it still works. Like I still edit videos every single day on it, and I still pump out videos, so it's still bearable. Now, on the other hand, this is my brother's Dell Xps 13. No, I do not have two laptops at the same time, but he got this for college, and I was gonna unbox it, but obviously he wanted to do it since it's his laptop. So now I'm going to be doing a comparison between the two of basically like a casual person's review. Usually when you see these comparisons, it's by these big guys. These are tech guys that have like 37 laptops in like their fridge. So this is gonna be a little bit different. This is gonna be of an average person, see what I like, what I dislike, and I'll talk about all the stuff in between. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is definitely the OS. So obviously you guys know the Dell XPS runs Windows, whereas the Mac runs Mac OS. So one of the main differences and one of the main reasons lots of people like Mac so much is because of the software. Now, if you guys do know, Mac OS software is a lot simpler, I'd say, than Windows software. It's less customizable, but it is very simple. It lines just right with your phone. You can use iMessage right here, like I completely syncs up with my phone. You can have Finder, all these great software that they have, and it's completely optimized for Mac. So they also have Safari and stuff like that, handoff, AirDrop, all this stuff. It's a nice little ecosystem. So if you have an iPhone, a Mac OS can be definitely very tempting compared to Windows. However, I'm not gonna just sit here and say Windows is trash. Windows is a really good operating system, but the problem is that when you have an operating system that is made by the people that are actually making the computer, when you're looking at Apple, they make the operating system and the device that it's running on. So when that happens, what happens is the device is super optimized because they can control every little piece of that hardware, make sure each little fan is lined up correctly. So Safari will run to 100% maximum performance when it's running on a Mac, because there's only so many Mac models you have to optimize for. Where for Windows is sure optimized for something as good as like an XPS right here, but they can't optimize for every single hardware. There are so many companies out there. There's HP, Acer, Asus, Dell, Lenovo. There's tons of companies and tons of other ones as well. And they have different SKUs. They have like 10, 15 laptops coming out every year. It's impossible to optimize for that. So obviously you're gonna get a little bit of a smoother experience when you go on the MacBook Pro. However, that is completely up to personal preference. Windows does allow you to game more, and macOS does have a lot better creative tools like Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro is one of the best softwares to actually video edit it. Definitely compared to Premiere Pro, in my opinion, especially if you're just starting out. And it comes with great starting software. Now I'm going to talk about, guys, is the hardware, the actual what you're feeling. So, guys, I'm going to start with the MacBook Pro. Many people say that Apple makes the best computers, and I definitely agree with this. Apple makes the best looking and feeling computers out of any company. If you look at this MacBook right here, it is, well, actually, you can't really tell by looking at the screen, but it is pristinely built. It is made out of aluminum. It's super, super nice looking, and it just feels super clean. It's nice and light. They're both about the same weight. I don't want to mention the exact specs of the weight because nobody actually cares. They're both light enough that it doesn't matter. If you care about half a pound between like 2 pounds and like 2.5, I don't know, you need to start lifting, but we're going to start, guys. Now, one of the main things I love about the MacBook is how nice it's built. Now, that's also along with the XPS, but with this nice build quality, you also get a bunch of great features. So one of them is the trackpad. Apple's definitely known for making the best trackpads in the business, and this is no exception. This trackpad on the MacBook Pro 13-inch is amazing. If you guys look right here, it is massive. Do you see this? Okay, I did not mean to zoom in like that, but it is a massive trackpad we have right here. This is huge, and there's tons of traction that you can make here. And one of the main things is that Apple trackpads don't have a physical click. They have magnets. They use magnets to perfectly drive exactly where you're clicking, so it feels exactly the same wherever you're clicking. Now, this is awesome because first, it offers for an amazing experience, and also it's just so cool, and it's just such a smooth and buttery experience to be using this trackpad. Now, also, guys, you do have this keyboard. The keyboard is pretty solid, I would say. It's not better than the Dell, in my opinion. This is the 2019 MacBook Pro, guys. So if you guys do not know, the 2015 to 2019 MacBook Pros all ran these things called butterfly keyboards. So butterfly keyboards were known to be not as durable, and they have a lot less travel. If you guys don't know what travel is, I don't know if you do, but travel is basically how far the key goes down when you use it. So if you guys can see here, I'm just typing. Now, I'm pretty fast on the MacBook, I can usually hit about 100 words per minute, but I'm not really going because there's literally a camera right in front of me. But you hear it clicks and clacks. It's very loud. So that's the difference. It's not as satisfying to type on. And also, guys, the last piece of hardware I want to mention are the screens. So for the Mac, that's dual. It's plural because you have this nice, really nice display. It is a super clean display. This display is definitely better than the XPS one, depending if you get the 4K one, but you should not be getting the 4K one. So the Mac display is better. And also you have the touch bar. The touch bar is just a bit of a gimmick, but if you like it, you like it. That's it for the hardware, guys. For MacBook, I definitely think the MacBook's better, but if you take a look at the XPS, I'm gonna move this over here. We got the XPS. So the XPS is also extremely clean. So I'm going to close it up right here. Look at that. It is amazing. Now, one thing I do like to do to compare two different laptops is to stack them. So right here we have the MacBook. And we're to stack this XPS right on top. Now keep in mind, these are the exact same screen sizes. If we stack them on top of each other, as you can see, the XPS is a much smaller chassis, especially width-wise. So what this means is that if you guys didn't notice, the Mac had some very big bezels. If we take a look at, well, not very big, but considerably large bezels for a super expensive laptop like that. Now, if you want to take a look at the Dell, take a look at that, guys. These bezels are puny. That is less than pencil thin. So that is honestly crazy, guys. And now I'm going to get into the other features, guys. The trackpad, guys, is decent, but I want to remind you, this is a physical trackpad. So you're actually clicking down here. Now, coming from someone who's been using literally only a Mac for the past few months, going to this, it just feels like, it feels so much worse. I'm going to tell you right now, it's still a good trackpad. Do not get me wrong. This is a fantastic trackpad. But compared to a Mac, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. The Mac absolutely shreds this thing. Now, additionally, guys, the keyboard is fantastic on Dell. You have a nice backlight, which the Mac does have, but the backlight and the keyboard is just amazing. Like, it's great for productivity, and of course, that's what you're going to want to do. So it works really well. As for display, guys, the display is completely touchscreen, and it gets really, really bright, which is completely different with the Mac, because the Mac does get brighter than this, but it doesn't have touchscreen. So touchscreen is like a really important thing, so I think they should definitely have it, but I feel like the Mac should have touchscreen, but it doesn't, so it's nothing I can really complain about. Now, the next thing, guys, is speakers. Now, I'm not going to run a test on the speakers, but the Mac has better speakers. I'm going to tell you right now. The Mac will always beat any sort of Dell product like that in speakers. It's just how it is. Mac have the best speakers out of any laptops. That's just a fact. Now, guys, I'm going to talk about which laptop you should get for each type of person. So I'm going to start, guys, with the Dell. Now, I want to keep in mind, guys, keep this in mind. These are two extremely premium laptops. These are top of the end. If you can't pay for like the medium range and you're just going to don't go for the base model. If you're going to go for the base model, go for a different laptop so you can get an actual spec'd out one so you're not running on a potato. That's what I went with this Mac, and it's kind of like a potato. But when you're saying this, you need to make sure you get a little bit of the specs, and it is really expensive. These are all extremely expensive computers, but the thing is, for Windows, I would definitely recommend if you want to do some gaming, you definitely want to get Windows. Now, I'm not saying you want to be gaming on XPS 13, but if you want to even do anything, like play Minecraft or something, you can't do any of that crap on Mac. It's just so bad on the Mac, unless you run boot camp and jump a bunch of different hoops. You're just going to want to do it on a Windows. It's just so much easier. Additionally, guys, if you guys are just normal users that just use Chrome and stuff and like don't have like any issues with that, I probably would also recommend the Windows. And that's also if you're in the Android space. If you're using the Apple space, I'll talk about that later. But if you're using an Android phone and you're in that kind of like system, I definitely recommend using the Windows because there's no integration between Windows and Android, but there's a lot of integration between iPhone and Mac. I'll talk about that in just a second. So if you guys are just like that, just like a normal user, I definitely recommend the XPS. It is a fantastic laptop, super sleek, and it's great for students as well. But if you're going to be running more creative programs, like if you're doing Final Cut Pro like I am, and using video editing or like photo editing or anything like, if you're even close to the creative end, guys, definitely go for the MacBook. The MacBook has much better stuff for that. It has a better screen. It has better everything for that. And it's definitely going to do you better in the long run. Additionally, guys, if you guys are using an Apple phone, I also definitely recommend using a MacBook Pro. Now, I'm full out in the Apple ecosystem. If you guys didn't know, I do also have an Apple Watch, so I'm like super in the ecosystem. I have an iPhone, recording with it right now, and everything lines up perfectly, guys. I get AirDrop, I get iMessage, I get Safari, all this cool stuff, guys. It works well so together, and if you guys have like an iPhone and stuff like that, it does not affect whatever programs you're using. If you are an Apple user, make sure to get a Mac because it's gonna work together so well. It's gonna make your life so much easier, and you're gonna be happy once you do it. You're never gonna go back to Windows after you do it if you're an Apple user. So that, guys, is my full comparison of the XPS and the MacBook. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer them. And yeah, catch you guys next one. Peace.